the Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And they were like, whoa,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person.
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly have joined forces to expose Ellen DeGeneres in a way the world has never seen before. That bright, cheerful smile that once ruled daytime TV? It's being torn apart, and what's underneath isn't so pretty after all. What secrets are hiding behind Ellen's polished grin? Is it all just fun catchphrases and upbeat chatter? Or is there something much darker buried beneath the surface? Here's the truth. It's not just messy, it's painfully awkward, deeply shocking, and almost too uncomfortable to watch. If you ever thought daytime talk shows were dull, this twist flips everything upside down. This isn't harmless chatter. It's a tidal wave of truth crashing down. And Ellen, she's taking the full hit, drowning in headlines, exposed secrets, and a flood of unraveling stories. Rogan didn't sugarcoat it. He said the vibe behind Ellen's show felt like something out of Abu Ghraib. That's how toxic, strict, and cold the behind-the-scenes environment reportedly became. And the dominoes really started to fall after that famously tense and uncomfortable interview with Dakota Johnson.
I have a question for you on this. This is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party. And Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And
Ellen playfully asked, why wasn't I invited to your party? But Dakota Johnson didn't hesitate. Actually, Ellen, I did invite you. And in that moment, the mask slipped. Live. On national television. That clip exploded online within minutes. For many, it was the first real crack in Ellen's bubbly image. The moment people began to wonder if the kindness was just an act. Rogan didn't hold back. She doesn't seem nice, he stated flatly. It looks forced. It feels like an act. And the internet? It roared in agreement. Then came the bombshell comparison that stopped everyone in their tracks. She's running that place like it's Abu Ghraib, Rogan claimed, highlighting the fear and strict control behind her show's shiny exterior. That wasn't a throwaway line. It struck a nerve. Suddenly, former staffers came forward, claiming Ellen was cold, distant, and even cruel when the cameras weren't looking. Megyn Kelly took the investigation deeper, and what she found was chilling. Lawsuits, HR complaints, and buried reports painted a picture of a workplace ruled by fear, not joy. Ellen's famous motto, "Be kind," was revealed as nothing more than branding, a hollow phrase used to hide a much harsher backstage reality. There's no kindness in fear, Kelly declared. There's no compassion in silence. And with that, the glossy shell of Ellen's reputation began to crack wide open. What was really going on backstage didn't resemble the show at all. No dancing, no laughter, just silence, stiff faces, and uneasy glances down the hallway.
Have they made progress with the strike?
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the writer strike, that's some dirty shit. Do they cross the picket line?
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like, I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Being behind the scenes.
One insider finally broke the silence with a chilling confession. You were told not to speak to her unless she spoke to you first. How can that possibly be called kindness? Now, with everything crumbling around her, Ellen is trying to make a comeback, this time through a Netflix special where she casts herself as the victim. She's saying, I was run out of Hollywood. But is that really the whole story? Megyn Kelly wasn't having it. Run out? She snapped. She walked away with hundreds of millions. That's not being canceled, that's a golden goodbye. And the public couldn't help but laugh at how absurd it all sounded. As Ellen steps back into the spotlight, the backlash is boiling over again. Louder, fiercer, and more relentless than ever before. People aren't just turning on Ellen. They're questioning everything they once believed and cheered for. Joe Rogan wasn't there to stir drama. He demanded truth. He asked the question echoing in everyone's mind. How can someone become rich preaching kindness while treating their own staff like they're invisible? No one could answer. To Rogan, it was all a performance, a mask that finally cracked. When dozens of people share the same experience, it's not coincidence, he said, shaking his head. And just when things couldn't get more disturbing, Rogan dropped another bomb. A former staffer told him, "You were never to look her in the eye, not even by accident." Can you imagine working in fear of making eye contact? Ellen's charming public image once shielded her. But now, that mask was collapsing under the weight of hard truths. And Rogan wasn't ready to stop. He made it clear that no public relations spin could undo what people had seen. This wasn't just bad management, it was emotional warfare, he declared. While Rogan exposed the fake smiles, Megyn Kelly zeroed in on the empire Ellen had built.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview. She plays the victim.
She didn't just investigate Ellen. She went after the entire system that allowed the behavior to thrive in the first place. Kelly uncovered how producers turned a blind eye, how networks brushed off complaints, and how ratings always came first. Before people, before decency, before truth. This wasn't only about Ellen. It was about the entire machine that protected her at all costs. But now, that shiny image was going up in flames, and Kelly made sure the world watched it burn. She exposed the twisted irony of a millionaire claiming to be a victim while still being praised in the media spotlight. She says she was run out of Hollywood, Kelly said, shaking her head. But she's out here promoting a Netflix special. How does that make sense? The hypocrisy hit like a slap. The truth is, Ellen's fall isn't just her story, it's a window into a celebrity culture addicted to image. The smiles, the hugs, the charity moments, they were all part of the performance. Kelly revealed that kindness wasn't a principle. It had become a brand. A product used to sell books, merchandise, ads, all while hiding the cold reality backstage. The contradiction was glaring. How can someone preach love and compassion while ignoring the suffering of those working just a few feet away? Kelly didn't sugarcoat it. She called it exactly what it was. She also exposed how the media protected Ellen for years, never questioning her behavior because she fit the mold. Famous, adored, untouchable. But that protection, it's gone now. And that's what made this collapse so powerful. It wasn't driven by drama or rumors, but by real voices, real facts, and testimonies that could no longer be ignored. Even more powerful? Rogan and Kelly weren't chasing clicks. They were speaking hard truths in a world drowning in spin. Ellen once danced her way into America's heart, but now she's dancing around the truth. And finally, people are seeing through the performance.
It's like a beautiful name, Isis.
Ellen's rough. That's a
Ellen is
rough
like
one.
an old.
But it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person.
When you see, like, a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that's people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a bitch, right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage.
This isn't a comeback. It's a bold reminder of how power allows certain people to rewrite their own endings, while the real victims are left behind in silence and pain. As Ellen tears up on stage, speaking about how hard it's been, Her former staff are still carrying the emotional scars of what really happened behind the scenes. Joe Rogan put it bluntly. She didn't lose it all. She just lost the illusion. And Megyn Kelly didn't hold back either. You don't get to cry from a mansion and call it exile. The spotlight is back on Ellen. But this time, it's exposing everything she tried to keep buried. And the audience? They're not clapping anymore. They're watching with eyes wide open. Rogan went even further, describing Ellen's set as a psychological minefield. You see the smiles on TV, but backstage, people were walking on eggshells, he said. That image stuck with everyone. It was unforgettable. But he wasn't done. Rogan said Ellen's brand of kindness reflected a much deeper problem in celebrity culture. People love a feel-good story, even when it's fake, he warned. But the truth always comes back around. And now, it had. Then things took a chilling turn. Rogan pointed out something eerie. Ellen was the only person to interview Jesus Campos, the security guard who encountered the Las Vegas shooter before the massacre. That's strange, he said. Why just her? Why that show? And suddenly everyone was asking the same questions. The way Ellen handled that interview raised serious red flags. There was no warmth, no emotion, no empathy. She rushed past the human moment and dove straight into maps and diagrams, like it was a procedural drama, not a real-life trauma. Viewers weren't just puzzled, they were shaken. Something about it felt deeply off, and no one could shake the discomfort.
That should tell you
uniform.
something.
Yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking at clothesline somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her. Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
She does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch,
She dealt with a lot of discrimination when she came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Yeah.
Kelly didn't hold back. She called it exactly what it was. Tone deaf and cold. That moment should have been about empathy, not graphics, she said. Instead, it came off like a PR stunt pretending to care. It wasn't just awkward. It was deeply revealing. Looking back now, that interview feels like a critical puzzle piece we all missed. A moment that, in hindsight, seems far too polished and staged to be genuine. Ellen's defenders are still trying to spin it, blaming society, brushing it off as another case of cancel culture gone too far. But the voices that were silenced? They're finally being heard. Rogan wasn't having it. This isn't cancel culture, it's consequence culture, he stated, firm and clear. You can't mistreat people for years and still expect applause forever. Kelly nodded in agreement, emphasizing that this wasn't just a slip-up, it was a long-running pattern. This wasn't a one-time mistake, she said. It was a toxic environment built over years, hidden behind a smile. Now, every new public statement from Ellen feels less like a genuine return, and more like a last-ditch attempt to save a brand that's already in ruins. Rogan delivered a piercing truth. This isn't about whether Ellen can still tell jokes. It's about whether anyone still trusts her. And judging by the response, that trust is gone. That line landed hard, not just as opinion, but as a reflection of how long Hollywood ignored the signs. The rules were never the same for everyone, and people are finally noticing. With her new Netflix special, Ellen is stepping right back into the same role, portraying herself as the misunderstood victim, the quirky outsider, the lovable entertainer lost in a mean world. But this time, no one's buying it. The same woman who once embarrassed a guest on live TV over a party invitation is now asking the world for sympathy? The irony is suffocating, and the laughter is gone. Kelly summed it all up with razor-sharp clarity. She exposed the entire act for exactly what it was.
This is for me, and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with she with $100 million in her pocket.
$450 million, according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows.
Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
But just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
The applause is gone, and now only the raw truth echoes through the silence. The hush from other celebrities is stunning. Almost no one has stepped up to defend Ellen, not because they're afraid, but because deep down they know the stories are real. They've heard them too. And that silence? It's louder than any public statement. When even your closest allies go quiet, it's not fear. It's belief in the ones speaking out. The most chilling part? Rogan warned that this isn't just about Ellen. How many more kind celebrities are hiding dark secrets? He asked. And suddenly, the entire industry felt exposed. This wasn't just Ellen's reckoning. It was a warning shot to every celebrity hiding behind smiles while mistreating people off camera. The mask is cracking, and it's not stopping with her. Kelly called it a turning point in how we view celebrity image. Being likable on camera isn't enough anymore. It has to be real when the lights go off, too. Ellen once inspired millions to laugh, dance, and be kind. But now, her story stands as a warning of how easily kindness can be manufactured with good lighting and a publicist. Rogan nailed it. She was selling kindness like a product, but behind the scenes she was delivering fear. That line struck like lightning. Ellen's fall isn't just another celebrity headline. It's a wake-up call for audiences everywhere. It's time to look beyond the surface. Who are we really applauding? What's behind the polished image? The age of smiling through scandal is over. People aren't looking for perfection wrapped in sparkle. They want the truth, even when it's messy. So while Ellen tries to piece together her brand, Rogan and Kelly have already shattered the illusion, leaving nothing but truth standing in the ruins. And in those ruins, everything is clearer now. The fairy tale is over and no one's clapping on command anymore. For someone who once danced into America's heart, Ellen now faces the cold silence that follows when the music ends. And reality takes the stage. Because real kindness? It's not a slogan or a scripted segment. It's how you treat people when no one's watching. And Ellen failed that test. The curtain is gone, and there's nowhere left to hide. What remains is a legacy forever changed and a public that refuses to be fooled again. And if anyone still believes you can fake kindness forever, they haven't seen what happens when truth tellers like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly start asking the questions no one else will.